to me.
I've always called the meeting to order. Why don't we start with, so it is, we're a few minutes late, but we're all availing ourselves of snacks for our December meeting.
It's December, I know, don't get too used to it.
Well, it'll be leftovers in January, and then we got to deal with maybe Easter.
Bring them from
Yeah,
home.
right. Why don't we do a roundabout on introductions?
Why don't you start?
Why don't I start? J.D. Miller, Board Chair.
Hi, I'm Linda Hayes, Director of the Council on Aging.
Dale Baylor, board member.
Janice Desmond, board member.
Owen Powell, liaison for the South Shore LP Service.
Betty Johnson, liaison for FOSS.
Leslie James, board member.
Janice Lindblom, board member.
John McLaughlin, chairperson for the Commission on Disabilities.
Gordon Price, Vice Chair, COA.
Jill Johnston, administrative assistant in COA.
Very good. Welcome all. I think the meeting minutes from November are in your packet. I hope, hopefully everyone's got one. Why don't we take a minute to review minutes from November?
You were very thorough, Janice, thank you.
You should write at the end, submitted by Janice.
I forgot that part.
So we
Oh,
can
she
give
usually
the
does,
kudos.
yeah, I didn't notice that.
I read the ones you sent.
Hmm?
I read the ones you emailed.
Yeah, me too.
Everything was fine?
Very helpful.
Oop. You okay here?
She's got a cold tickle.
You okay? So one down the wrong pipe, eh? Anybody have any questions on November minutes? I thought they were very comprehensive. Do I hear a motion to approve the
I
minutes?
make a motion, we approve the minutes of November 2016.
I'll second it.
Very good. So why don't we move right now into December minutes? Linda, you're on.
Oh, I'm on, I forgot those. All right. Hi, everybody, welcome. Merry Christmas, and thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for assisting with what the Senior Center and the Council on Aging is trying to do and do well. And I want to welcome Jill Johnston, who's here. It's so nice to have her. She's an indispensable part of our staff, honestly, and I think she has been here the longest of anyone, which would be 14 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, either 14 or 15.
Or 15.
Yeah.
All right, huh?
Exactly right.
Pretty good.
Well, we thank you for taking, some extra time in your day to be here.
My pleasure.
She did work today, and
I
she
know
did
you're
go
probably
home.
dying to
She
get
did
home,
come
but
back.
thank you for being here.
Her kids are in college now, so
Yeah.
we're trying to take full advantage of that. So you have my report, of course, but I will go over the high points. Aging Mastery Program, I have mentioned for the last 10 weeks, and it ended last week, but then this morning, we had what we call the completer breakfast. So those out of the original 17 or 19 we might have attended the first meeting, we had 14 who are receiving, rewards, a gift card, and they had the breakfast today where we just wrap up and have some discussion and thank them for participating. So it was very nice. It was great. And some of you have taken that yourself. So we had it at Widow's Walk. Jamie made a nice breakfast. The Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Foundation, you remember that Walter Fuller came
Yep.
to just elaborate on the program that they have through them and his grant to us, which actually was what paid for the healthy breakfast we had every week for Aging Mastery Program and today's. Well, another young woman also submitted a grant to Harvard Pilgrim. She works for them as an RN, Her name is Christine Underhill, and she's got a different last name.
Underhill
of course.
Dunn?
Underhill Dunn, thank you. And so we have another $500 grant through them. She had asked what I might use it for, as Walter had before, and I had given her a few suggestions, but I am sort of hoping to start, as I have mentioned at the last one or two meetings, I guess, that idea of the Memory Cafe, monthly Memory Cafe, and just working toward that. But it could go probably to a few things as well. But that was so nice of her to think of and for them to do again.
Yeah, absolutely.
On our behalf, so very nice. Kudos, I do want to mention to Lisa Thornton, who, as you know, works here with us as the Activities and Volunteer Coordinator. But she and several even volunteers who either made or helped with construction and decoration of two, not just one, but two gingerbread houses last week to submit to the Scituate Harbor Business Association's event contest at the Mill Wharf Restaurant.
No sampling of, broken walls or
Well,
roofs or anything?
I was judging, so I realized I bought some stuff, and we collected some stuff. Some people donated decorating materials and whatnot, but I didn't look. I did not look. I really didn't. To the point that the second one, I actually didn't know what it looked like when I was judging. I forgot. I said, I really didn't know which one it was. I will admit I did know which one ours was, because I had enough of an idea. I glanced. But it was fabulous. The volunteers were fabulous who worked on it.
And that was in conjunction with Foss, too, correct? Was it a combined event?
Harbor Merchants
No, the Foss
Association
ladies worked on
and
it as
Foss
well?
and-
Well, I consider them volunteers for us.
Oh,
They
okay.
whoever it was, and I appreciated it, and I know who baked and who decorated, but I consider it a senior center effort. And I appreciate that they were here as volunteers for the senior center, whether they are in the Foss organization or not. They were volunteering for the senior center. And the other good news, I guess, is aside from the great effort by all, Sandy Duffy and I were both judges, as well as a few others, and the money raised, which I am told was maybe $1,500, is going to the Friends of Scituate Seniors.
Wow.
For all of our efforts on behalf of a new senior center. Pardon me?
Who won?
I wish I could tell you. I do not know. They were adding up the points. It was very involved, and honestly, it was nerve-wracking. But
But they had really great entries.
and then I had to leave, and they were having some point discussions. And I think I probably know, but I'm not really sure. And plus, I didn't know who made them either. So it was all very anonymous. So anyway, I thank them for their, alliance with us and their generosity. That was great. So SCTV cable show, I will talk with John Roser next week about scheduling that, hopefully starting in January, and it could be that we even do some taping of that before the board meetings. I think he might have mentioned that that would be convenient. So initially starting out with myself and staff, talking about their roles, and then branching out and inviting some of the community people or different partnerships that we could do and different ways we might work with others, and just have it be an informative discussion that people might enjoy watching. So probably monthly, and I think he said a 30-minute segment each time.
Perfect.
Right now, I think we're going to call it Aging in Scituate, something just simple. But we'll see if he has an opinion on that, too. Said it sounded good. The Friendly Visitor Program, we're so close. The training program and materials have been adapted for our use, and that's been done with Laura and Lisa and Jenny primarily. And we have two volunteers, one of whom I've mentioned before is Janice Lindblom and Imelda Nelson. So they are trying now to set up the training. There's just a little wrinkle in terms of before doing the training, knowing what we want to protect the volunteers going into the home from whatever incidents might be occurring, and we just needed to be safe, sure and safe with what information we were going to provide to the volunteers. So that was a little bit of a delay. So anyway, they're thinking of a January, not the 12th as it turns out, but soon. Jean, our transportation coordinator, did attend a collaborative meeting with Social Community Action Council. And it's funny, we talk to them on the phone all the time, and we finally got to see their faces, because they are the contracted third party that we use for out-of-town medical. So they're in Plymouth, but also it's time to re-up sort of on the grant that we use, which is the Medical Access Program grant, which is through South Shore Elder Services, and it's a Title III grant. So it's a collaborative, Scituate, Hull, Hingham, Norwell, Braintree, a few others, Milton, everybody got together to meet and just discuss before submitting the grant, which they do now singly for the collaborative, and then we share the money somewhat, but overall we get $3,000 for that, which is just added to what we get from GATRA. So GATRA does support it, supports our entire transportation budget so far, but we get that extra $3,000, and if we needed more and someone else wasn't using it, we could have that, and vice versa if we didn't need to use it. But it's a great thing that we've had really for the last 3 or 4, even maybe 5 years, I think. Well, interesting news, and the map I gave you is just to support or illustrate what I'm mentioning here, and that is that I had a meeting with Tricia Vincasi, my boss, the town administrator, about the steps now being taken to potentially locate a new senior center facility. So there is what they call an RFQ, Senior Center Site Feasibility Study, online, so it's on the town website. Anybody can go read it. You go under, I think it's under proposals. And there was a meeting, in fact, last week. So Al Bangert, who is sort of our special projects coordinator, who used to be the head of DPW, so he is spearheading this and accepting the proposals due December 19th for engineering-type firms who are interested in doing this feasibility study on 4 sites. And those are identified on that map I gave you. So I may have mentioned this at the last meeting, I thought, but the sites are off Branch Street, behind the Gate School, the Purple Dinosaur Park, and the 4th site is a little bit newer in the mix, and that is off the Driftway, in fact, at Kent Street and the Driftway. And that is a potential trade for that property with the Housing Authority. So those are the sites they're looking at. There were 6 organizations at this sort of Q&A meeting the other day, but potentially there would be many more submitting their bids or proposals for the work. So that's exciting. So I was there in order to answer questions that might come up, but as Al said, well, they could have asked questions, they might have asked questions I could have answered, but they didn't. So there was really no information that I was providing or could provide to them, but it was nice to be there.
And these are all for new.
It's land that the town owns that doesn't have anything else existing on it, right?
Mhm.
So that would be in the assumption. On the back, I'm not sure, this is I think
got
a
the
simple
architectural
copy of potentially what John Catlin had done for the Durkee Brown architectural proposal for the building they were suggesting might go behind the Gate School if the Gate School became town hall and recreation, et cetera. So this is just a first floor. Just a first floor. You know, I knew it was John's because of the outdoor platform stage that's on there. It's a nice idea, and I'm pretty sure that's what he said. But anyway, that's just, his proposal had us at around 14,000 square feet, which is in line with, you know, suggested. It certainly could be bigger. Some are making them bigger, and obviously some have made them smaller. But it certainly is in keeping what would be satisfactory, obviously, for us. You know what, I actually, I do this all the time. I did print out, do I have them for you? Just suggesting, we've had the need for some discussion lately on standards of independence, and I actually do have them here if anybody's interested in having them. You don't have to read them now, of course, if you want to pass them around. But just the idea that we sometimes need to identify and then respond to situations where some adults are transitioning and maybe just having more difficulty being here for some of the programs that they might be attending. And so I'm just sort of resurrecting this. So this is something that was, in fact, approved by the Council on Aging Board back in 2008, and Tricia as well. So, yeah, or the town administrator, I guess it might not have been Tricia. So we're bringing that back up and just maybe we'll look at whether or not they are substantial enough or if we like the language that's being used in the standards, as mentioned now. Just because we do have to address sometimes that someone's here for a program and isn't really independent, and the staff is too small often to be both monitoring, not that you want to have to do that for someone, or just assisting to that degree with whether or not they're getting a ride and what time the ride is coming and you know, anything else that they might be staying for or not staying for. And unfortunately, because as much as we'd like to be a social site where people can just be here and hang around for some time and have lunch for that matter, we don't have lunch. And we don't have a lot of people sitting on the sofa conversing that could keep someone busy if they do have that need. So until we do, which of course would be the goal, it's just hard to have somebody here that isn't able to leave necessarily when things are over. So I just thought I'd mention that. That's come up for us. Sand buckets for seniors. It's a project now. When the Emmett Schmarzo came for the COA board training, and JD was here, and I think Helen was here, but she's not here now. That was one of his suggestions, so I still haven't really moved on it except to look for some potential printers, and the idea that this is just one sample. It's a bucket. I like the idea with the handle because we want to put sand in it, and then have our, Council on Aging Senior Center. JD suggested maybe the Rotary Club or the Interact Club might help us out, so we could put their logos on it as well. The kids could help deliver.
Interact, the concept was the Interact kids would be delivering it.
Would be delivering the bucket. So that's the idea that we're going for, just whether we make up 50 or 100. And I'm not sure what list exactly. I'm going to use, we have some outreach storm preparation list. We call people so they're on our list. So we just have to figure out exactly who to send these to. If we only do 50 or 100, who could best use them. But have them on their front steps. A little shovel, and it's traction for when there's ice and snow, and I think it beats salt. I did some looking at with salt better than sand. Salt melts, but sand is better for traction, so I think it would just be sand. It's a little safer for the environment as well. So that's
That seems like a really good idea. Now, where does the funding for the buckets come from? And
I feel like we have it. It's sort of an
Yeah, it
outreach
should not
thing,
be a
so
lot. Couple $100.
certainly
No, I know,
money-
but I was just wondering
Yeah.
where it came from.
I feel like I can use the program money.
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Well, and Interact might also pitch in a little bit too.
If they want it, but we like to have their physical, assistance. That's nice. I think.
Well, I'm thinking of my 87-year-old mother who lives alone, and something like that
Yeah.
would be great,
Yep, yeah, the concept is,
I'll
yeah,
make her
just
one.
right out the front door and be able to grab
Yeah.
it and throw some sand down and, yeah.
So I thought it might be worth mentioning, and I know I'd mentioned it at the last meeting that it was available if someone else had been interested, but JD and I went to this Welcoming Place for All workshop, got little certificates for our day spent at the Plymouth COA. Attended Culturally Competent Care, Communicating Across Cultural Boundaries. So it was a great presentation by a couple of women, and it is in the report there, but I'll just try to summarize, that we want to be sure that we're welcoming for a variety of cultures, and culture, we assume is racial and ethnic, and we certainly have those differences, but also can be aging in general, and abilities or disabilities, and socioeconomic. So just recognizing that we are made up of a lot of different cultures, even here. We want to maybe change our lens a little bit and just be aware that sometimes the way we respond to one person is not the way we would respond to another. But it was really a wonderful presentation, and one that I hope we can just start to integrate a little bit and bring some of the principles that we heard and talked about into there. I liked this, that how we respond to situations and people, and adjusting our unconscious bias, recognizing that no one is a single story. So sometimes you just don't know. You don't know what somebody is bringing sort of into the table until you talk to them, which is really what we want to do, what we hope to do, is to know that person that well. So that would be a new focus for us if we could get there. A couple of upcoming events to mention. Next Tuesday is our holiday gathering, so we did decide to hire a caterer for just some lunch and sandwiches and salad and piano entertainment. A couple of actually, we're doing two dueling piano. But I'm going to leave that as a surprise, I guess, for everybody. And then on January 11th, we will do the emergency preparedness presentation. So last year, we'd had MEMA in the fire department, animal control, and we'll invite them again. But we have Jeffrey Dugan, and he spoke actually at our health fair, and everybody really liked him. He's from the Mass Commission on Disabilities. So he offered to come and do that for us, and we'll invite the others in the fire department. We'll probably come in the health department perhaps and talk about the shelter. So it wasn't super well attended last year, and there's a lot of important people here. So we want to try to get them to come and get people to come and just listen. That way, you know, they know what we're doing and what they can do for themselves and what is available should we really have another situation like we had 2 years ago. God forbid. We're hoping not. But we need to be ready. So that's my report. You do have Jean's, I think, next. Or did I
Jenny.
put Jenny? Did I do that again? Okay. Jenny's outreach report next. Again, numbers, and she distinguishes that, especially in her area. A lot of times, she is seeing the same people more than once for various services. So that's why the numbers are different between the duplicated and the number of people served. So the total number of clients she saw or served in November was 47, but the interactions up to 98. So that, she's giving you, in fact, also her numbers by category. So fuel assistance is kicked in. The Part D drug searches, and really that is amazing. I've mentioned that our volunteer Shine counselor, Norman, they decided through the sort of Shine administration that they wouldn't do one-on-ones for every question regarding the Medicare re-enrollment. But, so people could drop off their sheets with their different medications checked off, and then he would do a search somewhere else. But Jenny also stepped in and did some of that. And it was amazing to me to find out she found a supplement that was far less expensive for someone based on using a different pharmacy and also then signing on with a different supplement for Medicare for the drugs. So it was amazing
Good.
how much you could save someone just by knowing what they're doing or going out and looking for other sources or resources. So it was really worthwhile. People take advantage of it. And Norman's been meeting with at least 4 or 5 people twice
I
a
would
week
guess Norman's busy.
over the last month and a half. So he certainly is still seeing enough people, but a lot of that was just health insurance in general and not the Part D enrollment. She's still going to the housing authorities, but I'm not sure, not a lot of people are taking advantage of her.
And her hours are posted, correct?
They're in the newsletter, and I believe she's posting them at the housing authority as well, although I'd have to check with her on that. That would be smart. Hopefully she is.
She is.
Yep, okay.
As always.
So I'd like to find a way to sort of encourage that to either get, just make some more contact with the people at the different housing authorities. So we're working on that. Jean's transportation, doesn't think it's interesting enough, but it's mostly about the numbers again. So our daily rides for November do seem to be down, and it's funny, we seem to be busier, so it's hard to actually understand that. But the link, which is our medical out of town, which uses Social Community Action Council, those numbers are up from 118 to 136, so maybe that is it. She used the MAP grant for 2 rides in addition to the other link rides, and she used a couple of volunteers, which I guess she says has stepped up as well this month. We have regular passengers, which I guess doesn't change too much, so our weekly trips to Shaw's, for instance, in the Hanover Mall and the Harbor, and then the congregational lunch on Thursdays, so generally, she knows the same people are for the most part going to those things. I think, too, she mentions that she's having an easier time with the reporting. So she does have to submit and is submitting reports to GATRA, as well as the MAP, regarding, she needs to know mileage, how many people we've brought to various places, how far they've driven, how many hours the drivers have driven and what they're being paid for. So it's pretty involved, and not all the information comes out of my senior center, so she does have to keep records of that in a spreadsheet for each day. So it is pretty involved, but she's feeling much more comfortable. Lisa's activities and then volunteers on the back page, I believe. So she is breaking it down by category as well for some of the things we've been doing. Part D presentation, which we did only one, I believe, and I think there was a fairly good turnout. AMP, the lifelong learning Bob Jackman class, which this was a good his classes are great every single time. It's amazing. He continues to come up with titles. But this one, I think because it mentioned the revolution, there's 26 people in the class.
Wow.
So that's great. The last men's breakfast was great. The Hull Life Saving Museum curator spoke at that one. Our Pi Social last month, I think maybe, I don't know if I'd mentioned that or not, but it was great. We had a good 22, 25 people here, I think, for that, and it was wonderful. The woman that spoke was from Right at Home Care, but it was nice. It was good to see people come out. I missed the stroke awareness. I think I was away during that cafe talk. Mahjong group continues to grow, and they're a nice, really nice group, and they're here at least 4 tables worth. That's 16. And they also, for instance, for the luncheon next week, because we're also having the garden club come next week, is doing the boxwood making Christmas trees. And that's a frenzy. That's wonderful. But then we want to have the luncheon that day because Tuesday's a good day for us to do a lunch, so it doesn't interfere with the other lunches. And anyway, we had to move Mahjong to the boat club next week. Yes, which they're always very willing to do. Thanks to Janet. What else? I guess she doesn't mention everything here, because I'm not seeing numbers, There are other numbers we could print out. Pickleball and badminton aren't here. And the fitness classes aren't necessarily here, which again is pretty big. That's probably where our greatest numbers are, of course. And we are thankful for the volunteers who help to run the pickleball and the badminton, because it's after hours, of course, which is hard for us always to get there, much as I liked playing. But I think those are up to a good 16 or 18 or 20 for pickleball. Is that right, Lydia? So that's great. Okay, and volunteers. We still struggle a little bit with the volunteers, which we really love to have on the front desk. It's hard not to have them. Sometimes that hits us hard when the phones ring on we are actually in line to be able to get a new phone system, which is nice. We have to pay a bit for it, but Town Hall just got a new phone system, so we can piggyback on that and get something installed here, which we do desperately need. Just in terms of identifying, number one, who's calling, which would be very helpful for us, but also right now, all the phones ring, whether it's for you or not, and then it rings again if it is for you and gets transferred, but if it's ringing, we all have to...
Every single phone here is ringing.
And we don't really always sort of listen, who's going to pick it up. If it rings twice and no one's picked it up, well, then, I'll pick it up, but chances are all 3 of us have picked it up now. So it really is not ideal. So we do appreciate the volunteers who come in and spend 2 or 3 hours answering the phones for us, which is helpful. So, and that's it, I guess, for the staff, myself and the staff. Thank you.
Very good.
And unless any questions on anything.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you a
Yes.
question? I don't know if I missed you. You
Mhm.
here have, you've submitted a budget.
Yes.
So what is that
The
budget?
process is I submit a budget to the town administrator. Now, I will be meeting with her next week and ironing out whether what I've done is good for her, or whether she's making other suggestions to me, and it's also with the finance director as well. So they'll help out with that and also sort of approve of the goals and objectives that I've submitted for the next year. And this is actually for FY 17-18.
I see.
So it's a early process, but I will report once it's, after it goes through that, it goes to the Board of Selectmen, they approve it, and then I'll report it. Anybody else?
Questions?
And it's level funded, just, there's nothing really creative in that, it is level funded. So operating the senior center, generally speaking, doesn't change too much. I am trying to get some staff increases in terms of hours, primarily Jill. in fact.
Speaking of that, Jill, any comment from your seat?
So,
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
how busy are we, Jill?
We're very busy, yes, yeah.
Yeah. She's right in the middle.
Okay.
Sometimes people will only talk to Jill. They only want to talk to Jill.
Jill's like the go-to.
Yeah, well,
For
good.
everything and anything. I mean, when involving the seniors, they know that if they can catch Jill, she'll know something about something. And if she doesn't know it, she'll find out. and
She'll know
call
where to
them
go.
back.
Yep.
Right.
Well, much as we try to, communication, as I think anyone would agree in whatever, situation, professional they're in, is probably the hardest thing to do, whether it's external communication and media stuff, or even internal, because not everyone's full-time, so hours are overlapping, or, not everyone's here when something might occur, and we try to email and we try to inform people, but inevitably someone answers the phone and doesn't necessarily know the answer to that question. So it is hard sometimes to make sure everybody is aware of what's always happening here, and the changes and the updates, so we do try, but we miss a couple.
Things fall through the cracks.
Mhm. So,
Very good, thank you.
thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Linda? Why don't we move to liaison? South Shore Elder Services, Joan.
All right. We met on December 6th. It was a good deal of discussion, and I'll read a few things. They're very concerned about plans of restructuring senior whole health, Social Security, Medicare, and Mass Health. We mainly got to wait to see what happens, but we did get a lot of literature. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll read some of it. And most of this is from Al Norman. I joined a conference call nationally on an update on what is happening on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid lobbying. The call was hosted by National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. Congress will soon be passing another temporary continuing spending resolution that would last through the end of March. 2016 funding levels minus a small cutback. After January, when the new Congress convenes, they will attempt to repeal the ACA, which means jeopardizing Medicare expansion, Medicare and Medicaid Part D expansion, and prevention services. These features will all go away if ACA is repealed. There are 4 items of concern in Congress: blocking granting Medicaid, raising the Medicare retirement age from 65 to 67, and making Medicare a private. In repealing the ACA, the administration wants to repeal the ACA in the first 100 days, but there are 20 million people now insured under ACA, so it may not be a simple, easy task. And there was more, but I'm not going to go over that. And then this is from Ed Markey. So I'm proud to join Senator Elizabeth Warren and my colleagues in introducing the important legislation to provide a 3.9 increase in Social Security benefits this year. The SAVE Act would lift 1 million Americans out of poverty by giving approximately 7 million seniors, veterans, people with disabilities, and other emergency payment equal to 3.9% of the average annual Social Security benefits. And it goes on, but that's the main part of that.
So that's a proposed increase, or it's going to happen?
Proposed.
Proposed 3.9?
Proposed.
Okay.
Then another news thing with the State House News Service, workers plan to seek statewide $15 an hour minimum wage. This was November 29th. The minimum wage in Massachusetts is set to rise $1 to $11 an hour on January 1st. But low-wage workers are poised to press for passage to 2017 of legislation boosting the wage floor to $15 an hour. And this would really affect a lot of the workers in South Shore Elder Services.
Sure would. It does go up to $11 in January, but
Yeah. And There's a lot more work being done in Massachusetts and including with the South Shore Elders for the veterans in 2017. The annual meeting was excellent, and that's when awards were given to workers and board members. We still need a lot more Meals on Wheels volunteers. That's where I spend most of the time, so you don't see me here, because
Right,
a lot of the people go to Florida.
right. I'm going to call them, I think, and even offer us, as volunteers, if they're ever stuck and they need a backup, especially in the bad weather as it
Well,
starts to
yeah,
come.
well, and not so much for the driver's work, because what I've been doing is going in at 9 until 1,
Oh.
working, getting the bags
Creating the
everything
meal.
ready,
Oh,
and then the
okay.
lunches on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's why that's why I can't get here to things, the movies and stuff, because I'm there until at least 1.
Right.
And then there's another lady I take shopping after that, so.
Where is that done, Joe? Where is that all put together?
This is done at the Methodist Church.
On First Parish.
So we have to put the bags together with the milk, the bread, and we
Right.
have to separate the bread, and then like if we have a canned fruit, we gotta put them in containers. So we do that before the driver comes with the meal, and then we pack them.
And about how many are going out each day? It may vary.
Around 50, but we're down now in like 44. We've lost a lot of people this
That's
this
still a
summer.
lot.
We had a lot of people die
Oh.
this summer.
But really, still
And,
45 a day?
So how many drivers
Yeah,
to
we
handle
have 4
44
drivers.
stops?
We have 4 drivers and sometimes 5 because
Okay.
the site manager and I fill in a lot. And the thing is, Route 4, it does Hadley Road, but also does Humrock. So you pick up
Right.
Humrock, going up
Yeah.
Humrock.
Right.
Four
Yep,
drivers.
yep.
A couple of drivers like doing that, but others we split it up. So sometimes we have 5 drivers.
Who makes the routes? Does Lynn? or
Well, the
is it
site
Lynn?
man, we do the routes by, where they are. The site man, and she really knows the area. And then she'll ask us too, that is someone, who do you think this route? And then if a route, like now Wheeler Park, we had like 10, now we're down to 4.
Oh.
And so if they might add on to that route, if another
Right.
route is increased, we never know, it changes.
How does-
Joe, don't you serve meals also at the
Yeah,
Methodist
Mondays,
Church?
Wednesdays, and Fridays, we serve the meals. right?
How
So that's
does
why
one,
it's, that's usually over between 1 and 1:30.
Gordon?
how does one get on the Meals for Wheels program?
They can call South Shore Healthy Services or even call, the site. And then it's referred to someone at South Shore Healthy Services, and they will get in touch with the person.
So there's a process.
Usually it's because they don't drive, or they don't have any way of getting out, or they might drive, but like, we have one lady, she can't stand for a period of time, so she can't prepare meals.
Right.
And then we encourage the ones that can drive to come to the meals. And we used to have like 5 or 6, now we got like 14 people coming, so that's good. There's an increase. Then the board training was a Prevention Wellness Trust Fund, mainly talking about falls at home. And the main thing that she talked about was a grant program in Weymouth and Quincy. And it's fosters a variety of interactive programs, mainly to help seniors, which a lot we do here, or we do already. But this, Quincy and Weymouth have a lot more people and a lot lower income, and so this is a grant that helps them self-manage high blood pressure, prevent diabetes with nutrition, exercise, manage and live well with diabetes, reduce fall risk with education, eat healthy, quit smoking, and they have a lot of programs we have, like Tai Chi, Matter of Balance is one of the big ones, a nutrition program. So you do a lot here, and a lot of the council agents do, but when you get to places like Quincy and Weymouth and all, there's a lot more low income, and so they get a grant program for that.
That might be through Social Elder Services, that same Title III money, I think.
Yeah. And this here is, this is fairly new, this grant over them. And then, there's no community dinner, I think,
Oh,
since it falls on Christmas. We figured the week before, too many people are busy, and the week after is New Year's.
Okay.
Give ourselves a break.
Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Good.
Very good. Thank you, John. Betty, Friends of Scituate Seniors.
Friends of Scituate Seniors, FOSS. I'd like to thank everybody for helping to make our Christmas fair on Saturday at the St. Mary's Parish Hall a huge success. It was a great time for the people that worked there and for people that just wandered through. Some came for lunch. We sold out just about everything. We have a few things left over, but we have a
That's always nice.
very good turnout, considering that there were fairs going on all over that time.
Right.
Yeah, so we
All the
were
Christmas
very
fairs were that
pleased
weekend.
and grateful for those people that attended. Also, the Scituate knitters who, here at the senior center, who are all FOSS members, knitted that beautiful Afghan, which is over there, and that was raffled off. We drew the raffle today, and the winner was Joan Reed. And the profits from that will be divided between the senior center and the Friends of Scituate Seniors, and that was very successful.
Nice.
So that was good. I think that's about all I have.
Okay. Has Joan Reed been?
Was
Linda
notified
called.
immediately.
Okay.
And she couldn't have been more excited, honest to God.
Isn't her mother Sheila Reed?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Keep it in the family.
Her sisters were all going to be very jealous, so.
And Jill did the drawing, so, yeah.
Very good. Well, obviously, Marty, from Old Tool from the Board of Selectmen is not here with us, but we do have John McLaughlin from the Commission on Disabilities. John?
Some of the things I wanted to mention is I met with Marty O'Toole a few weeks back in Trish's office. We discussed certain issues that were on our agenda for almost a year to lift things up. One was in GATRA to broaden more, which they're finally doing. And that would be for 2 hours in advance, you'd call, and they can come get you back and forth. The goal was to have it incorporate all aspects, a regular citizen, disabled, or the elderly. And that being said, we need to have certain kind of bus stops. So what we're trying to do is see where to put in unique curb cuts and so on, in areas by the school, and make those routes, and also for sports events, the same way. It's also when I go once a month and talk at Attleboro or in time, because we're unique, we have waterways. So we need a second kind of plan when it comes to beach season to have it go back and forth. Now, there is a waterway commission or something, conservation.
Yeah, Waterways Commission. Here in Scituate, you're saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
we want to have it where there are wheelchairs now that they have that can fold and be transported. So let's suppose the lifeguards all met like town hall or parking lot. They'd be giving a bag with a very portable wheelchair that can fold. The difference is a standing wheelchair might be almost 2 feet wide or 3 feet wide. This other wheelchair, because the wheels are not 2 inches thick, they're up to 12 or 18 inches wide on each side, we'd have to increase the pathway. To release that, there is a certain kind of membrane, a roll-out mat that we want to have, that we're looking into. The mat will go out from the edge of the parking lot up to the center of the beach. But we need a place to branch off wider, because you can't go from point A to point B, you have to be able to communicate and branch off, not get stuck on the path and stay there. So we're trying to incorporate that with the other commission. The next phase is to make sure we had issues with like sidewalks. We're addressing those too, and obstructions in the roadway. From that on, we cover other aspects of doorways, accessibility to bathrooms and so on. We're going to try to approach the restaurants and make sure that they're know how to address certain people who are disabled, and actually talk to them as opposed to, him and I went together, and I had to have my cane, they would like talk to him to get my order instead of like talking to me. So we want to like make sure that things are done in a more proper way. What?
It's terrible.
No, it's a matter of, they come to us up in the bias and so on, and some people are afraid, so they come to us, and we're the advocates. So, okay, instead of like having complaints go through, we smooth everything out. We like to be behind the scenes.
So John, I have a question on, I want to just go back to the beach access. So would it be like literally sort of laying a carpet
It's sort of like a
almost from the
membrane mascot.
sidewalk to the beach entrance?
Well, right now, they already have some concrete pathways.
Yeah,
But so-called thing is it's grandfather, it's only so wide.
yeah,
Since the wheelchairs are wider.
yeah. Then they
okay,
can't fall, they're gonna fall
you
into
have
the
that-
sand.
you have that
Right, I
friction.
get it.
So the way the sidewalk's supposed to be, the same example of the sidewalk, is supposed to be one kind of material, non-slip surface.
Mhm.
So when you put a granite curb on the end of it, that can't be included in that realm. It has to be separate. And you can't put a telephone pole like towards its, off-center or so on, because it obstructs the road.
Mhm.
So you need a non-skid surface, but the wheelchairs, for like I say, for the beach, they're about this wide
Mhm.
on each side, as
Mhm.
opposed to this wide. So you have to go wide enough 40 inches.
Mhm.
Now, I don't think from the front to the back to the beach is over 200 feet, but every 200 feet, you have to have a wider area for a wheelchair, if one's coming the other way, to turn around and one way for them to pass it. So it's just a matter of people don't know, and to make sure they're educated, and so there's no complaints down the road. It's a way of making sure we're ahead of the game.
So if we had a pathway to the beach, would it also extend onto the beach?
It has to, yes,
Okay.
you have to get to it.
Yeah.
But you can't go from here to here. You want to have this area here have the same kind of matting
Yeah.
brought out. So
Yeah.
with these tables, so you have a gathering area.
Yep, okay. Okay.
Anything else?
Any questions for John?
Had you had a meeting yourselves with GATRA in terms of trying to get certain?
I meet with GATRA once a month, and also sometimes incorporate Plymouth as well at a different time. They're incorporating, trying to get stop signs, like, one bus stop behind Front Street there,
Mhm.
in Cole Parkway, that hasn't worked out yet.
Oh.
They want permanent spots.
Mhm.
And also, there was a curb cut put on First Parish, I believe, in back of the Jenkins School, but they
Mhm.
have one there.
Mhm.
Okay, and as you branch out, as the curb cuts are there, because you have to be able to get to
To
the
the
bus.
stop, yeah.
Because everybody wants you to come to the house to wait 2 hours, and they know how the route goes. So the 2-hour thing is a backup plan.
Mhm. And they've explained the deviated route that they proposed, and,
We still haven't gone over exactly, I was gonna go over with Joanne and work the route out and so on, because I was on a team, so with UPS and dispatch, I understand how these things work, and all the right turns and so on.
Mhm.
Plus, there are certain areas, like if you go to, one of the beaches, the park lot has all these potholes.
Mhm.
So the pothole obstacles, you gotta like patch them, because if you're disabled, either you're hypersensitive with nerves, or you don't feel things. And if you don't feel it and you hurt yourself, you could be really bruised bad and not enjoy that day, or your family freaks out.
Mhm.
So it's two sides of the coin.
Mhm.
And so are you pointing out all of these shortcomings in,
Well, my thing is, there's a thing called a transition plan. They can put so much and do so much, and then as the transition is being built, they can say, we're gonna need this, and that's already in there.
mhm.
Because right now, our thing is, I want to get funding, because we're waterways. It's kind of unique than most communities. So if we stay ahead, we can get more grants and funding,
Mhm.
and like match maybe 50 to 80% of what we need for expenses. This is what my goal was, to make sure that these are incorporated.
I see.
But everybody has to be on board.
Well, because I know that Tilden Trail,
Mhm.
I think that's sort of
Mhm.
well-known that that was built with.
A couple years ago, am I right?
Not even.
No, it's.
Not even, just
now.
finished, just
Just
finished.
finished.
Okay.
And, it's got telephone poles
In the middle,
right in the
right.
middle, and,
Yeah, I mean, in a new community, when you're planning a community, planning streets, it's easy, I think, to
Right.
Yeah.
abide by the regulations. Or
One
when
would
you're-
think.
What do you do in a town like Scituate, when you have a telephone pole, like, I think there's one next to my office, in the
Can't
middle of the
move it.
sidewalk?
Mhm.
How can you resolve that issue?
Well, this is the problem that we're faced right now, and getting like concerns and complaints coming in. It's when you turn the surface over, you try to have a maintenance plan, you say you're gonna go in, the poles have to be moved before, after. There are things known as, supposed to have 48 inches wide non-skid surface. Okay, the reason that is because The minimum is 36 inches. That means we have snow, we have somewhere to put the snow. If you start off at 36 inches, you shorten that path for a wheelchair,
Yeah.
you're already behind the eight ball. And then there's room for telephone poles. They're 12 inches wide, but some are now being 8 inches wide. And 18 inches will definitely kill that plan. Okay? Some people feel, when they look at things, if you ever saw Game of Thrones, you see the flat line coming down, all of a sudden things start building up. But what happens is we have growth coming in sideways, and we have so much time to pull that back during the summertime. Because we get bushes and shrubs, okay?
Sure.
Other parts come down, like I said, snow. Snow is being plowed this way from the street onto the sidewalk, and from people just making a path and pushing the side along your house, and it shrinks fast. Part of the thing that the town is going to have a hard time with, and they're mainly trying better, is they have to maintain also what they put in. And in our area, snow removal, like areas like Turner Road, when the water does come up and over, it doesn't come alone. It brings the sand and rocks and leave it there. And every year they have issues moving it. So it's not something unique, and no one likes to hear it, but it's definitely have to maintain. The other issue we come down to as we look at things on a different broad spectrum. We try to look at like storm drains. We use the philosophy, instead of a cane, we use high heels. If you're high heeled and you're caught broken, you've got to change the storm drain to a smaller grid. Same way, if you want to like a wheelchair, don't think wheelchair, think of a double wide stroller. And it's double wide stroller can't make it, then you're eyeballing back and forth. The goal is, at this table right here, no obstruction when you first look. And the growth comes in, or the snow comes in, it shrinks. But you don't want to start up with an obstacle in the middle. That seems to be the problem that was had. I don't know where it occurred or where it started, but now it's something that has to be addressed.
Are you meeting with the town hall, committees, whatever, on a regular basis to try to point out issues of shortfall and what we can do to resolve them?
I'm trying to help back and forth. I've been going to training for the past couple of years with the Disability Law Center, which owns the laws, Mass DOT, which is the roadways. Then I go with Jeff Dudengos, he's the second director in charge of disability that she mentioned for the evacuation unit. He trains me all the time. So I get threefold coming my way, so I learn different terminologies with different people. To answer your question, it's a matter of they have to allow me to speak, and they have to, they only use what they hear from me as if I'm using it. If they want to find different options in the time house. Because just like when you have a house and you build something, you have things in escrow for 1 year. If the construction guy made a mistake, okay, it's back on him. When that time frame goes over, you own it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other business? I don't necessarily have anything else new on my docket. Gordon?
That's what I mentioned. I was at the same meeting that Linda attended a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Where the prospective bidders of this RFQ, I guess they're called now, were there, and it was very interesting. I just want to highlight a couple of things. Most of you probably won't take the time to go to the online piece, which the entire thing is there. And some of you may have seen my post on Scituate Monthly, where I kind of tried to highlight some of the more pertinent facts. But I'm very encouraged to see that the town is finally kind of making a step to, move this process forward. They had a lot of things going on at Town Hall with water issues this summer and whatnot. I kind of had a couple of discussions through the selectmen wondering when they were going to move this, and Al Banger actually gave me a call the day that they put this out, so it's kind of neat. And it is encouraging. Under the project description, well, first of all, the contract will be awarded within 30 days of December 19th, so by the end of January, somebody will be contracted to do the study. It's pretty extensive. think some of the people there thought it was a little too extensive for the money
For
that
the
the
money.
town was offering.
Yeah, they're trying to cut things
But,
out of there.
That doesn't surprise
So
Exactly.
maybe, and I guess there may be some areas where a lot of this research has already been done, so
Mhm.
they'll be able to pull that research out, but let's tell a little about, this is under project description. The town anticipates construction of a 15,000 square foot plus or minus senior center located at one of 4 locations. So it at least seems to be that some people are actually believing that, Linda and her programs are not going to be able to get by with a 5,000 or 6,000 square foot center. That 14 to 15,000 is not out of the realm of what is realistic. So it's nice to see that they recognize that. The 4 sites are, there was the latest one that kind of came up in the last couple of months is kind of interesting, because no one really kind of gave that one any real thought or discussion in the past. It's where there's the traffic island down there where it's Old Kent Street and Kent Street,
Yeah,
whatever it's called.
somewhere down
If you
there,
went
right.
out to Scituate Country Club,
Right.
right there,
Right.
that piece of land that's there, which is actually partially farmed, there's someone farms part of that land in the back. But anyway, that's under the jurisdiction of the Housing Authority. Housing Authority tried to put some feelers out to do something with that land, and there were a lot of people in the area were pretty much upset with it, so they kind of backed off. So I think Housing Authority is saying that, we're not going to touch that land, so it now might be available, or it is available for at least the study. So then the others, of course, were Gates, Purple Dinosaur Park.
Right.
And
Beyond the library.
Beyond the library. Right.
Yeah.
Which is really, sometimes looking maybe a little bit more questionable. I remember looking at that 10 or 12 years ago and kind of forgot the outline of it. It's really kind of a bizarre piece of land. It is big, it's 11 acres, but the access to that land is kind of pretty limited. So anyway, so those parcels are going to be looked at for topography, soil conditions, water table, stuff like that. And but they also went on under the scope of services it says to prepare a schematic plan for a center also. Now, some of that has been done kind of by Durkee Brown in their earlier review earlier this year. So, some of this will be just kind of, I think,
Tested.
elaborated
Yeah.
more fully with this latest study. And the intent of the project is to complete the senior center site feasibility study by June 26, 2017. So, it will give them plenty of time. My hope is that maybe they'll come in with it maybe in April or May, but we'll see if the work that they have to do is kind of scaled back a little bit. Maybe we can complete it more quickly. So anyway, encouraging that town hall, and I use that word kind of generically, is actually, I think making a serious attempt to try to resolve the facility issues that we all know are present. So kind of encouraged by that. And I was encouraged too at my little post. Got almost 50 likes and about 40 comments. So I continue to feel that there's much more broad-based support for something happening in the reasonably near future than what we've ever had in the past. And, to me, that's very encouraging. And certainly FOSS has been wonderful in helping clear that with 350 odd members now and growing. So I think hopefully maybe our day is coming that we'll be able to enjoy the fruits of everyone's hard work.
It's coming.
Would you-
Slowly, but it's coming.
Would you realistically, I'm not asking you to be put on the spot, but it would be 3 or 4 years, it would be like 4 years before we saw something to go in the front door, right?
Not necessarily.
I hope not.
I'm asking, I don't know.
Not
Well,
necessarily at all. Not at this time, too.
In a discussion that I had with one of the selectmen, he thought it might be feasible to bring to a special town meeting this fall a proposal for a
Wow.
So
Say that again, Gordon.
it might be feasible to bring to a special town meeting this fall, at least, not necessarily a plan, but at least, because they're going to have to fund
Right.
an architectural plan, so that would be the next step. So hopefully, maybe by this fall, that might be something that would be realistic. So then maybe you're looking at maybe the possibility
And then
of
2 years.
2018,
Still another, yeah.
2 years.
maybe, but, you
Yeah.
know, at least the process is moving.
Yeah.
Which it hadn't been, obviously, for the windows for a long time.
Yeah.
So, encouraging.
2018 is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blink your eyes and it'll be here.
What's that? Blink your eyes?
Blink your eyes and it'll be here.
Blink slowly.
Yeah. Very good. Does anyone else have anything? Well, so I will just close with my Scituate statistic of the month, which is some of the information that Linda and I picked up last week. And really, I'm just going to, the age population in Scituate that is 65 years or older constitutes 32% of our population.
Wow.
And of that 32%, if I've got this right, 17% of that is 80 or above. So our population is significant in terms of seniors in the Scituate community. So, I'll close with that. Does anybody else have anything else before I take a motion to adjourn?
One other item. In this request for qualifications, RFQ, along with what JD just said, and I'm not sure, this obviously was generated by Town Hall, but it said here 24% are currently 60 or older, so
Right.
maybe we need to, upgrade that number. But it also went on to say that the senior population is projected to nearly double over the next 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that is huge.
Yeah.
That's-
No, that number's correct. The state gave us numbers for 65 and above.
Right, right.
Oh, this was 60.
And we
And
did
60 and 60 and above is like 25%
It's a big bubble,
already.
60 and
Yeah.
65 is a big.
Yeah, so,
And
yeah. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'd make.
And
Well, Merry Christmas,
we certainly
everybody.
welcome and extend Christmas and holiday greetings to everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn at 20 minutes of 7 by this clock on November 16th. No, November 16th. December 8th, 2016.
Very good. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
We'll see